So as you guys may know, I am a pretty big gamer. I've made Mount Rushmores of my favorite video game franchises. I've made other videos about video games in of itself on this channel. I even mentioned in my Yellow Pain video when Yellow Pain reacted to my video and responded. I even said that I was playing Red Dead Redemption in that video. So I'm a pretty big gamer. I actually just beat Red Dead Redemption 2 last week, and I didn't cry. Don't question me. I didn't cry, alright? And when you're a gamer, there's plenty of debates, and this is one of the debates I see myself into way too often. It's the nudity versus violence debate. This debate takes many forms. It's been going on for a long time, and I thought I'd make this video. This is why violence is okay and nudity is not. I was on a video game forum talking about the Witcher franchise or something like that, and the guy was asking, is the nudity in those games avoidable? And a bunch of people were like making fun of the guy in the comments, saying that he's just a troll. And here's one of the comments that caught my eye, and this is actually my reasoning for making this video. So he posts a picture of a woman in a bikini holding two guns, and she also has a gun holster on her side. And the comment below says, "Right now, I have your attention. We're going to talk about nudity, sex, and violence. Prominently displayed above are two devices for killing things and two organs for feeding small children. Which one causes more of a fuss if uncovered, let alone used on network TV?" So this guy doesn't know how to use commas, so it makes it really hard to read. But anyways, young children do not have a problem with breasts. Do not project the insecurities of your society or religion onto those children. That is my motivation for making this video. First of all, okay, this guy is acting like an idiot because he's acting like boobs only have one purpose, and it's to feed children. And that's just not true at all. Okay, he's acting like boobs haven't been used to sexually attract men for like centuries and millenniums. Even the Bible talks about how breasts attract men. So this whole garbage idea that he's like, oh, you're weird if you think boobs are sexual. They're just for feeding children. Like this, that's just some stupid argument. We're gonna get into the whole violence debate. This violence versus nudity debate's been a thing forever. People just say, oh, you think it's bad that you see boobs on television, but you don't care about people dying on television. The reason why I have no problem with violence and I have more of a problem with nudity is because violence in most forms of media is justified. There's a form of justification when it comes to violence in either the video games or the movies. There's some reason that you can justify the violence taking place. So, for example, if you're watching an action movie, you are watching the action movie from the protagonist's perspective, and the protagonist is typically protecting someone, defending himself, and in some cases he's getting revenge for something terrible that happened because of the bad guy in the movie. So, in a way, the violence in most of these movies are not always legally justifiable, but morally they are justifiable. Okay, especially in cases of self-defense and like war movies, for example. That'd be another example of justified violence. Whereas nudity, in its three different forms, and we're going to talk about that, is never justified ever. It's never justified for nudity to happen. This is the same debate tactic that Dean Withers used in his debate against Nick Fuentes. So Dean asks Nick, if God commanded him to kill a baby, would he do it? And he said, yeah, because that's the correct answer. If God commands you to do something, you do it. And then he asks Nick, would you rape a baby if God told you to? And Nick goes, well, no. And God wouldn't ask me to do that. And Nick didn't bring up the point I'm about to bring up, but it's because rape is never justified, regardless of what you think, There's never a reason to rape. There's never a justifiable reason to rape somebody. Whereas violence can be justified in multiple scenarios. For example, if someone breaks into my house with violent intentions and I kill the person, not only is that biblically justifiable, but in most states that aren't ran by Democrats, it's also legally justifiable. However, if the same person breaks into my house and then you sexually assault the person, that's never justifiable. Do you see what I'm saying here? Do you understand why sexual immorality might not be as justifiable as violence can be? And nudity in films and TV and video games can take multiple forms. There's 3 categories of nudity that I have come up with. There's sexual nudity, there is artistic nudity, and there is exploitative nudity. Nudity would be any time nudity is shown in a sexual manner and in a sexual scene, that would be sexual nudity. There's artistic nudity. This is your stuff where it's not necessarily romantic, but the nudity is shown anyways. Still not justifiable biblically, nor is it justifiable morally, because the woman in the movie still has to get nude for the movie. And unlike an action movie where people are fake dying and fake fighting, the nudity is real. The nudity is always real 110% of the time. There's no fake nudity. They don't act like they're nude. They're actually nude. And then this brings us to our 3rd category of nudity, which is exploitative nudity. This is any time when a woman is shown nude without their consent in the story. So for example, this would be like Halloween. There's a sexual assault scene in the Halloween remake, the Rob Zombie Halloween remake. Or there is a scene in American Pie where these dorks record a woman getting undressed in one of the bedrooms and they record her without her permission. That would be an example of exploitative. Is without consent. Another example would be the Run, Hide, Fight movie where the school shooter forces the teacher to strip down naked. The other thing I find funny about this whole debate is that every time people bring up violence, they always say, like, oh, people are getting blown up and they're getting cut in half and ripped apart. And it's like, most of violence that is witnessed in movies and video games and stuff is not anywhere close to that. Okay, like if you're playing Call of Duty, the more modern Call of Duty games have like dismemberment, but you can also turn it off. But in like the older Call of Duty games, which is when a lot of these debates started, there was no dismemberment. There wasn't even a whole lot of blood in the games. It was just like your character just got shot, died. It was kind of like over. And it's just so funny to me seeing the debate where it's like, oh, these guys are getting ripped apart. They use the most extreme examples they could possibly find to like justify their crappy arguments. And my last argument, this is the last argument of the video, is that nudity and sexual immorality, besides it being sinful and never justified to be sexually immoral, my last argument I want to make is that nudity, kids being exposed to nudity, will mentally affect them worse than seeing violence. Now, like I said, there's levels to violence. Obviously, something like the movie Saw and that kind of violence compared to violence that you would see in like a PG-13 action movie like Taken is much different. Many people make the argument that violence is no different than nudity because it's going to desensitize them. And that's just not true at all. Okay? I can watch hundreds of action movies and be fine, but you watch a real video of a real person dying. For example, the last year, 2024, there's been tons of footage of the war between Israel and Gaza, and the videos of that is deeply disturbing. Watch a video like that compared to a movie. It's just way different. The feeling you get in your heart's way different. So the whole desensitization argument just doesn't even work at all either. And then the way that nudity affects the brains of developing children is way worse than any fictional action scene or fictional death ever could. So anyways, what are your thoughts? Give me your thoughts down below. I hope you liked this video. If you like this video, give it a like, comment, and if you want to see more content like this, and I'm also doing a new series where I'm going through the entire Bible in 1 year. If you want to see stuff like that, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.